I'm Brian Goldfinger from Goldfinger Injury Lawyers. We'd like to wish you and your family a happy and a safe holiday season. Everyone here at my law firm hopes that you don't need our services, especially this time of year. Visit goldfingerlaw.com.
Hello and welcome to the Raptors Reaction Podcast. I'm your host, William Loom. I'm speaking to you after the Toronto Raptors completed a thrilling comeback. 17 points down they were to the Memphis Grizzlies, who shocked the Raptors by scoring 71 points in the first half. This is the lowest scoring team in the league. Not the worst offense. They just play at a slow pace and they don't score much. But nope, the Grizzlies, man, they jumped all over the Raptors in the first half. They could not miss. I mean, going back, I had the luxury of not watching this game live because I was out watching Burning at TIFF. It's a really good movie. I mean, it's if you don't mind watching 2.5 hours and basically watching Korean subtitles. But yeah, so I got to watch this game on tape delay, and when I came out of the theater, it was around halftime, and the Raptors were, I mean, I was just shocked. I mean, how could you give up 71 points and a half to the Grizzlies? And, you know, people were giving all sorts of complaints, like, you know, oh, man, they're getting to the rim too easily, you know, bad foul calls, blah, 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 blah. You know, some turnovers. The turnovers point is true. I mean, the Raptors did commit some turnovers, but really, when you look back at it, the Grizzlies just made some impossible shots. I'm thinking, like, Marc Gasol, like the ball would just like the pass would barely touch his fingertips and he would just like volley it up to the rim and it would go in. And we're talking like 30 footers he would hit like this. And honestly, through three quarters, the Grizzlies were shooting 9 of 10 from between 14 feet out to the 3-point line. That's insane. That's just insane. I don't care. Yeah, and like, I mean, some of the shots they were hitting was nuts. I mean, like, Mike Conley, I mean, he's the king of floaters, no doubt. I mean, he's got the best floater game in the league. The man hit a leaning floater with Fred VanVleet right on his hip from beyond the free throw line. Like, these were just incredible shots that the Grizzlies were hitting, and the Raptors were down. And, you know, as the game sort of progressed through, because it looked like after the first quarter, the Raptors were doing well. Like, they were scoring well against the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are obviously known for their defense. The Raptors played at a good tempo. They were able to get 3-point shots, and like things were looking good. But in the second quarter there, especially, the Raptors, you know, started getting quite frustrated when the Grizzlies kept hitting shots. And then they started turning their frustrations towards the refs a little bit. There was a couple of no calls. Serge picks up a tech for basically mocking Marc Gasol on basically a moving screen where, you know, Gasol kind of sells the contact, and then, you know, Serge sells, like, basically just mimics him. And he gets attacked for that. And then, like, about a minute later, Kyle Lowry is guarding Garrett Temple on the ball. And, you know, Temple kind of uses his left arm to clear out Lowry, and Lowry falls over. No call on the play, and the Grizzlies score. And, yeah, I mean, Nick Nurse, I think this might be his first tech of his career. But, you know, he reams out a referee, and he gets called for a tech. And, you know, it just seemed like the Raptors were unraveling a little bit. They were committing some dumb turnovers that was leading to, you know, easy points for the Grizzlies in transition. And, yeah, the Raptors were down at half. They were down, let me just do some quick math here, 59 to 71, right? So they were down 12. They were down 17 as much, you know, as much as 17. I think in the third quarter there, the first play of the game, or the first play of the third quarter, was Marc Gasol getting wide open for a pick and pop 3, and so it looked like, man, the Raptors aren't going to respond. Oh, but the Raptors responded. The Raptors responded with a 63 to 38 run, basically, to open the second half, and, you know, lock down their defense. You know, it was a much better defensive effort. Now, of course, it helped that the Grizzlies stopped hitting impossible shots, but a lot of seamless switching, a lot of really good rotations being made. The Raptors a lot more sort of connected. And also just offensively, they were really strong. I mean, like, the Raptors hit 18 threes tonight, and that was the major reason they won. I mean, you could even argue the Raptors got a little bit too hot. And I mean, but seriously, the Raptors just played great offensively all night. And there's a couple of places I really want to credit that to, but the one guy I really want to highlight tonight is Nick Nurse, because the adjustments that he made in tonight's game were perfect. First off, I think the game plan was really solid. You know, push the tempo, you know, and basically forced Grizzlies into taking mid-range shots. And it wasn't working in the first half, but the Raptors didn't shy away from that strategy at all, because I think, you know, the results weren't there, but like the Grizzlies are going to eventually cool off, and I'm happy that he didn't change his scheme there. He didn't try to like switch or press up or anything like that. Later in the game, he did a little bit of switching, which kind of threw the Grizzlies off, which I think is good coaching again. But for most of the game, they stuck to the game plan, and it worked. The Grizzlies eventually started hitting some shots, and they did better that way. But also, I thought Nick Nurse made a couple key adjustments. One, he got JaMychal out of the game. CJ was trash for the first half. Just trash. He only played 5 minutes, was a -4. He was getting cooked by Omri Caspi. Omri Caspi, by the way, is now shooting the ball like he's lifting a box. Like, I don't understand how he's doing that, but it's like it's almost an underhand free throw. Like, I don't know, man. It's the only player in the league with a shot worse than Markelle Fultz. Although I think Caspi actually can hit his jumpers, but still, it looks awful. It honestly looks like he's basically doing a squat with a weighted ball in his hands. But yeah, I mean, Caspi was just cooking Miles. I mean, like, and I think Nick Nurse basically figured, like, look, we're not going to make this comeback if we put this sieve of a defender back into the game. And so he shortened the rotation. He put Kawhi Leonard in with the second unit and to start the fourth quarter when Miles would usually come in. So Miles got stapled to the bench for the entirety of the second half. And it's a great move, man, because the Raptors were able to be obviously a lot more locked in defensively. And also, I think Leonard just gave the bench another focal point to sort of play offense through. And even though Leonard didn't have a very efficient game tonight, the reason for that is the Grizzlies sent two defenders at him at every single opportunity, like blind doubles from everybody. Serge, Pascal, OG, I mean, like, just everybody, DeLon, like, just he was just getting blitz from all angles, so it's hard for him to score that way. But in the fourth quarter there, those blitzes really did turn into open threes. And there was a moment where the Raptors had made this comeback. They had, trimmed, again, 17-point lead down to about 3 or 4, like about, close to about a 1-possession game. And then the Grizzlies like hit 2 threes, and it was like, man, okay, well, it's a 9-point game now. The Raptors might have folded, might run out of gas, who knows? But then the Raptors responded beautifully. OG with a corner 3 off some great ball movement. Again, the Grizzlies sent too many defenders towards Kawhi, and eventually they swung the ball, and OG got an open 3, and he hit it in the corner. Then DeLon Wright on the kick out from, I think, either Fred or Kawhi, but he gets a wing 3, and then Fred VanVleet hits a 3 on the wing as well. And all of a sudden it's a tie game, and at that point, the Raptors basically just continue to cruise while the Grizzlies kind of tailed off. So I thought, benching JaMychal, it was definitely the right move, especially in a week where the Raptors are not playing back-to-back. You can extend Kawhi's minutes a little bit. It's a great recognition by Nurse. I like that part. And then another thing was just, he kind of recognized that, the Grizzlies are going to send all these double teams from, whoever, right? So if you're going to have Kawhi sort of attack, just set up a shooter on the strong side. So either they can send help, or when they do send help, you can swing it to that guy. And I think the Raptors were really efficient to generate some open looks. I mean, again, they hit 18 threes on 33 attempts. A lot of that was, the Raptors, positioning themselves great. And also, I think another benefit was just, Kawhi was getting a lot of rebounds today. I mean, this is his third straight game with double-digit rebounds now, 10 rebounds tonight. And he would get those rebounds and then push it up the court, and he would get easy looks. I mean, he got VanVleet 2 threes off that same sort of idea, and the Raptors, basically cruised after those 2 threes by VanVleet. I mean, just a good job by Nick Nurse, really, to identify what was going wrong in the game and then sort of, act accordingly. He also limited Jonas Valanciunas' minutes. And I think, especially in a game against Gasol, you might be tempted to put your big guy in there and try to, like, hold him down low. But that's kind of exactly what the Grizzlies want you to do, is to, like, funnel your offense towards Gasol. So, I thought Nurse sort of riding heavy with Ibaka was a good move, because Ibaka was really good on defense down the stretch, especially since Nurse had Ibaka sort of hedging on the 3-point line and really shutting down Mike Conley, who was already having trouble with Fred VanVleet. Just overall great game from Nurse. I'm really happy with the way he managed the team tonight. And in terms of individual players, I thought Kyle Lowry really stepped up today. I mean, there's a lot of games where Kyle has to sort of take on more of a scoring load, and he kind of refuses to. And tonight was not the case. Kyle was a little bit hot from threes. He hit 5 of 8, and part of that was because he was able to play more off the ball. This year he hasn't really been able to do that because Danny Green is not really a ball handler, and Kawhi Leonard is a ball handler, but he looks to create for himself, right? So there has been nearly as many opportunities for Kyle to, have people set up offense for him. But again, credit Nurse. He had VanVleet playing a lot of minutes with Lowry, and a lot of those times, VanVleet was able to create and Lowry was able to spot up. And, Lowry got a couple of spot ups today, really got himself going, got to the rim a couple times. His pick and pop game with Ibaka is just so nice. I mean, in the third quarter there, they just ran the same pick and pop like 4 times, just screening, rescreening, and it was just like Ibaka's movement has gotten so much better at getting himself open. And Kyle is always, a very heady player, so he's always going to get his bigs open looks. But, great game by Kyle in terms of just pushing the pace, in terms of, getting his own offense, in terms of scoring. Again, the Grizzlies were really loading up on Kawhi, so you need someone else to step up. And that secondary scoring is always a concern of mine throughout the season. And I'm not saying that this negates all those concerns, but if Kyle can do this more often, then, of course, you would not be nearly as concerned. I mean, the Raptors are otherwise mostly a perfect team. I thought Ibaka, again, his defense in the fourth quarter, phenomenal. Really getting up on Gasol, and then also, just switching and communicating and just everything. The fourth quarter defense of the Raptors was really solid. The Grizzlies only had 17 points, and also the little pick and pops and stuff like that was really good. Danny Green, just money. He kind of kept the Raptors in it early on. I think he had 12 points in the first half. Just by hitting a couple of threes. And, the Raptors needed some offense. I mean, when you're giving up 71 points, the only way you can really solve that is if you play defense or if you are pretty hot yourself. And Danny Green was basically the Raptors' go-to guy in the first half. He got a couple of points there and kind of cooled off in the second half. Didn't really, it wasn't really as noticeable, but really it was because his minutes were taken by Fred. And Fred is a guy, what a game by Fred VanVleet. Best game of the season by far. 18 points in 22 minutes, perfect 6 of 6 shooting from the field, 3 of 3 from the 3-point line, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, 3 assists, 3 steals. Just incredible performance of Fred VanVleet. I mean, his on-ball defense against Mike Conley was just incredible. Conley finished with 20 points on 7 of 19 shooting. You will take that. You will definitely take that. And a lot of that was because VanVleet was just completely up on him. And this is one of those first games where, I've criticized Nerds for basically looking too heavily to VanVleet as his defensive stopper. But with a guy who's small and quick and sort of relies on small bursts of quickness and change of direction, like, a player like Conley, like, that's exactly who you want on the ball is Fred VanVleet. And VanVleet was, part of it is, Nurse's good call to put VanVleet on him, but also it was great defense by VanVleet. This is better defense than he's played all season. And then also offensively, he was just really good at getting his offense. Same thing as Kyle, basically, but, keeping his dribble alive, getting to the basket a couple times, and then the spot-up threes. Like, it's just a great game from VanVleet. He gets my first star for sure. And then second star, I'm giving that to Kyle Lowry. And then third star, I'm giving that to Kawhi Leonard, Kawhi, 17 points on 5 of 11 shooting, 1 of 4 from deep, 6 of 9 from the free throw line. Nice. Obviously that's a very below average scoring game from Kawhi, but it also indicates that, the Grizzlies were really, really aggressive against him. And that's why he only got 11 shot attempts in 37 minutes. But he was able to adjust. He contributed in other ways, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, a block, plus 12. That's Kawhi. It's nice to have a star player where even when his offense isn't going, he can still contribute in many other ways. And, that's what a leader does. And then in terms of your Gerald Henderson Award, there's a couple players you can go with here because the Grizzlies, I think, ultimately are not a team that has sort of very, very superior talent. Gasol having 27 on 10 of 14 shots is nuts, but again, I think a lot of that was hot shooting. Garrett Temple was definitely going to win the Gerald Henderson Award with the way he was playing in the first half, but I don't think he scored in the second half. So I'm going to give it to JaMychal Green. JaMychal Green, a bit of a physical presence, really put a body on Pascal, and got a couple offensive rebounds off of him, had 13 points, 7 rebounds, 5 of 9 shooting in 27 minutes. Nothing too spectacular, but JaMychal Green, I thought he was actually pretty effective in 2 big lineups. I thought the Grizzlies should have went back to their 2 big lineups. They kind of shied away from it when the Raptors downsized. It was one of those rare cases where the Raptors actually able to make an opponent downsize. Traditionally it's been the other way around. Teams have made the Raptors downsize, but yeah, I thought, if the Grizzlies gave Green more minutes, especially alongside Gasol, I think they probably would have won this game because Jaren Jackson, as much as he's looked impressive, he looked like every bit like a rookie tonight. I mean, just nonstop moving screen fouls. Only 4 points on 1 of 4 shooting in 19 minutes, 3 turnovers. Yeah, the Raptors kind of bullied him, but great win for the Raptors. Seriously, way to show some grit, way to show adjustments again by Nick Nurse. A lot of toughness from the guards, a lot of toughness from Kawhi, and they just got this win. I mean, the Grizzlies are at a really good defensive club. The Raptors shot 61% from the field and hit 18 threes and also got to the foul line 28 times, 25 assists, and 122 points overall. Just a great performance for the Raptors. And, all the hype is now set. The Raptors are 18-4. Wow. 18-4, riding a 6-game win streak. They return home on Thursday. They will play the Golden State Warriors, who will probably have Steph Curry in the lineup. It's going to be an exciting game. It's going to be probably the most anticipated game of the season. And I can't wait to see how the Raptors stack up. Win or loss, the Raptors are playing really well right now, and hopefully they can keep it going. I'll be back on Thursday to recap that game.